Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome in. Welcome to the Metal Mob. I'm Humble Stacker, of course. You know me, and of course we got Liberty Bleeds with us and Cartier Silver. You know these mobsters. You guys say hi.
Hello, hello.
What's going on?
And special guest today. We have Stacking Surfer with us today. Stacking Surfer, what's going on, buddy?
Hey guys, how's it
Welcome.
going? Good to be
Welcome
here.
in, man.
I appreciate you coming by. Really do.
Going on?
And it's awesome
Hey
that you
guys.
want to be on the show. So
Is there?
what we're gonna do today is we're just gonna, we're gonna introduce Stacking Surfer, which we just did, and he's just gonna kind of take the mic, let us know. I asked him to tell us about what got him into stacking and why he stacks, and he's just gonna kind of take the floor from there. And I hope that's all right. Stacking Surfer, let's go with it. Run with it, man.
Let's do it. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you
Yeah, we
great.
Yeah,
can hear
very
it
well.
great.
All
Very
right,
well.
perfect. So usually you see my face, but today I thought I'd bring out some of my deep stack. Um,
Sweet.
so any questions you guys have on any of this stuff, I'll bring it up. But um, I've been stacking for a while. I can't find some of my original stuff. It's a mess. I've got a lot of stuff I've different places. Um, but
Hear
I
that?
started I started stacking as a kid, and what I was stacking when I was young was half dollars, and then my birthday's in 1976, and so I started collecting all the bicentennial quarters, which really weren't worth anything, but they were really cool as a kid to collect. And one of the first things that I actually stacked was this dollar I found in my grandma's closet. I don't know why it was in her closet, but I found this wadded up, and I asked if I could have it, and I saw that it was a silver certificate, and I thought that was really, really cool. And
Way cool.
so, I this has been flattened for probably, 40 years, and it was all wadded up before, not wadded up, but folded. You can see fold lines on it. And so, is it really worth anything? Not a whole lot, guys. It's maybe worth a couple bucks. Um, but it was one of the things that got me started. It was pretty cool. On this side is a crisp silver certificate that has not
Nice.
been folded. And you can find these all over the place for a few bucks. But that's kind of where I got started. And then I started to just kind of forget about doing it. I even did stamps back in the day. And then a couple decades passed, and nothing really happened. I got married, had kids, started a career, and fast forward a little bit, 2019, my dad uh, gave me a 25-ounce silver bar for my birthday,
Whoa.
and I thought, well, that's pretty cool, but I have no.
Damn.
I know it's good, right? So, this is pretty cool. I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what it's worth. And so I didn't do a whole lot with it. I just said thank you and kind of put it away. And then the next year, in 2020, I got another bar. The same thing. These are these really cool vintage bars out of they're M&B bars out of Las Vegas. I think they only made these for like a year in the 70s. And so I got a second one in 2020, and then in 2021 I got a third one. And I thought, well, I got to figure out what these things are worth. I mean, I know this is like a really good gift, but I have no idea if it's worth 50 bucks or if it's worth, $200. And and so at that time I don't know why I went on to eBay, but I think I went on to eBay trying to search for this bar. And I found out that they were selling these, or at least asking around $1,000 to $1,500 for them at the time. And I thought, holy crap, that's a lot. And so I mentioned it to my dad, and 2022, I ended up getting $100 check, more bars. So,
Wow.
a lesson learned there is if someone's sending you a bunch of silver, never tell them how much it's worth or what you found.
Right?
So it stopped
Don't
coming.
tell them
But
what it's worth.
yeah, exactly. But it was awesome to get those, and you know they're now going for, I think people are asking around $2,500 for those bars, so they're pretty
Yeah, I was
cool.
gonna say it sounds like a vintage collector's dream. That's very rare. Only 1 year. Probably didn't make maybe not even 500 or something.
I don't think they made a ton, but my grandfather was a banker, and so these came from his stack, and he passed away in 1992, and so my dad's mom, my grandma, recently passed away during COVID, and
Rest their
so
souls.
yeah, it was. Yeah, just a horrible time to have to lose family members. But he inherited a bunch of these bars, and so my siblings have gotten their bars, and I've got these bars, and he's got a handful of them. So, the reality is I think he was just giving us a couple bars each anyway. But it just happened to be the same time I told him how much it was worth. So that's kind of funny. But anyway, from there, I could I've got a bachelor's degree and I've got a master's degree. Growing up in a banking and real estate family, I was being, groomed is maybe not the right word to say, but it's probably the best descriptive one to use. To
It's a
take
family
over,
business, right?
yes, to take over my dad's board position on this New York Stock Exchange, bank, and in the process of doing that, I studied a lot of finance. I took finance classes, and a lot of it was and I was going into digital, marketing, digital technology, like how to do advertising and all the things that we kind of see as AI today. And so, in the process of doing that, um, I was learning a lot about that, and I understand inflation, and I could see the inflation was going to skyrocket in July of 2021, and that's when I started to really stack and go out and start buying gold coins. But I didn't know enough about it to do it right. But there's a little jewelry store not too far from my house. I started buying from him, and he just charged $100 over spot price. And so we started picking up a bunch from him, and then I found channels on YouTube like Empire Precious Metals and Silver Dragons. And
Yeah.
I'll show you one cool piece from Silver Dragons. There's not very many of these out there. Um, I would guess there's probably less than a dozen, but let's see if you guys can see it.
Humble, can you make his screen larger?
I don't. Give me a second here.
That's okay if you can't, but it has a Silver Dragon stamp on it here. And this is a 12-ounce solid silver golf ball.
Oh, that is cool.
And so I had to chase him down for a few months to get him to make another one of these. I think he said it takes about 6 hours to make one. And you can see, if you look closely, you can kind of see that there's two halves of a mold that are put together here. And he's got to file it down and really smooth it out. I haven't taken it to the golf
takes a lot of
course yet,
work.
but I need to. It takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
Well, that's this guy here. So that's kind of what got me going, and that's what I started doing. I started stacking a little bit from there, and I went to these auctions, and I probably bought way too much stuff on auction. So a lot of what you're looking at here, most of this is stuff that I would not tell people to go buy today if you're going for weight. I mean, these are eagles over here. So, I think eagles are great to get.
Yeah,
But
it's
a lot
like,
of these
you
other
know, you
coins
have
I paid premiums.
your stack and your collection, right? I mean, some things are so expensive, there's no way you would stack it. It doesn't make sense. So, yeah.
What is
But
that big boy in the background?
this guy or this guy?
Yeah, the big boy, the big gold one. Is that real gold or is that just plated?
No, well, it's real gold, but it's a silver kilo.
Oh,
So it
gold
is
plated silver kilo.
it's plated or gilted. I don't know if you can see that on the side. So it's AG 39s, and then you can see that it's 100 grams, so it is kilo. And this is number 11, and they only made 99 of these.
Wow.
So this is from
That's
South
sweet.
Korea, and it's one of those stacker shields, just like these guys are stacker shields over here, same company.
Oh,
So if you get another one of these, you can fit it right into it.
is that
And
Comsco?
it's Comsco, yeah. And so you can kind of see it's not super thick around the whole thing. But But we've used this at the Long Beach coin shows, and I got to tell you, this attracts a lot of people to
Mm,
come over and look
Well,
at
hell
those.
yeah! Look at that thing. It's gorgeous.
Right? It's
So
awesome.
I think I paid $1,500 for this.
Oh,
And there's only a few of them. When they came out, I saw them going out. I couldn't get my hands on the original one, but I bought in the secondary market. So that's that guy there. This one I bought from JM Bullion for $900. And this is also a kilo. It's the St. Michael Banishing Lucifer. And it's also a stacker shield, so you can see that it's imprinted inside.
so you've already made your money back on that then where we're at with the spot price right now, huh?
Oh, yeah. And this is number 282. And I picked up 2 of these. And this is one of those things where, it's helpful to put your email in for an item you're watching. I got a notification while I was working over at my desk over here. And I went and hurried and bought 2 of these. And I knew they were going for $1,500 on eBay. And then as soon as I completed the transaction, I'm like, why am I just buying 2? I should go buy every one of these that they have and just go sell them on eBay.
Right.
I went back, they were sold out. And then I found out later that whoever listed them for 900 screwed up at
Oh,
JM Bullion.
I see.
And then I'll show you my other big stacker since we're looking at those for a second. This one is Achilles Shield. And it is way detailed. So you can get these pretty affordably in 2 ounce. This is 187 on this one. And so I don't stack these. Obviously, these are expensive. But to me, these are pieces of art. And they're just cool things that I know as silver gets super expensive, I'm never going to spend the money on it. And then
Absolutely.
because they only make 333 of each of these, except that guy over there, the one you can get it. They made 330 of those that are silver without the gold, and then they only made 99 with the gold. But the reason this is gold is that's how the original Aztec calendar kind of fits more with that whole theme. But anyway, that's kind of how I got started stacking. Was my dad as a little kid, and then having a big lapse, my dad starting to send me silver, and then getting to the point where I saw inflation coming. I started picking up gold, and then I saw these fun auctions, and I started finding coins like this. That's a really cool ship coin. And I started picking these things up. But I got to tell you, one thing you got to be careful with on these, just for everybody that's listening. At the time I was paying like, I don't know, I probably paid 50 or $60 for this coin. And silver
Is that a
was
Cook Island?
this is not Cook Island. This is Solomon Island. So there's 3 in
I
this
love
series.
my ships. So
Yeah, this is Anne Bonny. This one here is the Xing Shi. And the third one here that they did is the Mary Reed. They only did 3 of these. And then they kind of stopped making them, but they're really cool looking coins.
I have the Mary Reed.
And, I want to say I paid like somewhere between 45 to $60 for these when silver was at around 20, maybe 23, $24 an ounce. These have not gone up the same percentage as a Silver Eagle has. So you're much better off buying these if you're trying to get price appreciation and you're trying to, fight inflation. However, if you love ships, you love ships. So you go
Correct.
for those.
yeah, I've been doing the Romonda series, the nautical series,
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
the only
So,
one I have left to get is the 2024 Cuddy Sark.
okay.
I have
So I'll
all
show
the
you guys
rest of
these.
them.
So this is the Cutty Stark right here. That's from the Indian Ocean Territory. So there's a handful of these that are out there, but that's a ship. I'm kind of a sucker for the ships. This is another one here that is the Cook Island one. So I've got a handful of these around. And then I've got 2 more to show you guys. This one's cool. I've got a lot of Viking blood in my ancestry, and Scottish and English. And so I thought this was pretty cool. It's a big Viking ship. And that one's from the island of Man.
Cool.
And then the last one I've got out today, and I do have more ship coins. I just, everything's organized. This one's the St. Vincent and
Grenadines.
Grenadines, yes, 2022.
I think I have that one too.
Way to
And
go, LBS.
Eastern Caribbean Central Bank right there.
Yeah. Yep. Eastern.
So those are
That's right.
cool.
Yeah, man. Whenever I see a ship, I gotta buy it. That's all there is to it.
It
That's
just
it.
goes hand in hand with everything that we do, man. I mean, come on.
It kind of
We're
does.
collecting
Yeah.
silver and gold, pirate ships and, the old sailing ships, they just fall hand in hand.
I've always seen it that way. Treasure be treasure, man.
So there was a question in chat here for you there.
Yeah. We should call them out or something here. Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and call out chat real quick for me, LBS?
All right, I'll start at the bottom. We got OC Stacker. Well, actually, Stack Tacker Wager said, do you have the Triangle Shipwreck series? I have that. I have all of them. I love that series. LL is here. Good to see you. OC Stacker, Stack Tacker Wager, Death from Below, or Robert Wojciechowski, as we dearly know him. FG Stacker's in the house. Renee and me. Right on, Renee and me. Good to see you. Stack that gold. Another man that's in he has something to do with money with his occupation. The Humble Stacker is dropping comments in there as well. Vegas Stacker 702 is here. Any repeats? Oh, Neil Kraz says so bars are more important if you have them or if you're behind them. Oh, that's a beautiful piece. That's funny. SGTRP, seen this person recently but don't know how to say their name. Glad you're here. Glad you're all here. I think that's everybody that I can see all the way to the. Oh, and Curtis Gissinger, also known as Chasing Cheddar, was here. I don't know if he still is, but good to see you, Curtis. And Joey Brown dropped in right at the very beginning. Joey Brown, haven't seen you in a long time. Glad you're here, man. And Cartier Silver was here too.
Yeah, we got Nick here. We've got Blue Collar here.
Oh, Blue Collar, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Vegas is in the house as well. Welcome, Vegas. Vegas actually had a question. He had a question for Surfer. He wants to know what your favorite piece is.
That's hard. Because it is like treasure, right, guys? Like you were saying.
Right?
What I'll do is I'll tell you some of my favorite pieces.
There
So
you
I've
go.
got I have a 300 gram Death Star.
Oh shit.
That thing's sick. And I bought that wholesale, but I think those are probably around $1,500 now. But that one's really cool. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I do love this piece here. This has been one that has, attracted a lot of people to it. They've had a lot of fun with that. I also have several of those 10-ounce Beskar bars.
Oh yeah, with
that
the
they
Han
did.
Solo, right?
That's different. This is the Mandalorian one. It's like the metal that they use for their armor.
Okay.
And anyways, antiqued. It's really cool looking. And so I like those a lot. And then when you get into the gold, a lot of my favorite coins are really the pre-33. So I'm a big fan of pre-33 gold. And my favorite pre-33 coin is the $5 Indian. I just love how they minted those in Kust, is the way that you say it. They, the way that they stamped them is different than you see most coins. And so I've got a couple of those that I love that are favorites. But all of this stuff is hard to to let go, right? So one thing I always say is, what you're seeing here is the fun collectible stuff, right? You're not seeing my stack of like silver buffaloes or just silver eagles or maples or 10-ounce bars.
Your
So
weight.
I've got my weight stack that I plan on trading when silver gets to like $2,000 an ounce into real estate. And I know that
Nice.
sounds like a big number, but there's no way to get out of what we're in. They're just going to keep printing, so you're just going to keep seeing this stuff go higher and higher.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know if you want to get like into this. It seems like you have a passion to do this. I've been watching you more frequently lately because I knew you were coming on the show, and I have watched you in the past off and on. But man, you're like a YouTube beast, Stacking Surfer.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Oh, what does that mean? I get. I recently I saw that you had said on a video that stablecoin is coming, like it or not. And
Yep.
man, I don't like it, and I don't think a lot of people do. And what is there any way to slow this down, turn the tides, stop it fully, or are we just like I know it's not Star Wars, but you know the Star Trek, the Borg? Are we about to be assimilated and resistance is futile? What's up in your mind about all this?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's a couple things that I'll say on this. So, my day job, I sell AI software, and it's multi-million-dollar software we sell to the top 300 companies in the world, and we're now starting to expand out. And our AI tech is very much based on creating efficiencies, so it helps line up companies with their customers on what the customer wants and needs, and so we help marketing be less annoying. There's a lot of different kinds of tech that's out there, but because of that and how some of our systems work, I'm aware of how it's going to be used in the future in some of these ways. So, what's happening right now, if you go back to some of the videos with Andy Sheckman, um, there's the BRICS. So, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, along with about 3 other dozen countries, have kind of
Yeah,
joined up together. And we as a country basically created this group of countries called the BRICS nations by weaponizing the dollar a few years ago when we seized all of the US dollars that Russia had in their bank accounts. And we stopped them from being able to use the SWIFT system, which allows you to move money from bank to bank. When that happened, we basically created a situation where these guys felt like they needed to create their own system and figure that out. Um, since then, that was about 3 years ago. Since then, they have been buying gold like it's going out of style, and they're doing it through their central banks. And they believe that it's going to be super important to have that in the future. And so what you're seeing is these countries used to buy a lot of our debt. They bought our treasury bills, which is how we create debt and how we fund the government. And because they aren't buying those anymore, and they're starting to get rid of the ones that they do have, and they're buying up gold, they're also helping create not inflation, but basically depreciation or the decline of the value of the dollar. And so what's going to happen here is, you guys probably heard about CBDCs. Have you heard about that in the past?
yeah, central banking, digital currency.
Yeah. So central bank digital currencies was this idea of using a cryptocurrency that would come out of the Federal Reserve, just like our dollars say Federal Reserve on them instead of silver certificates today. They were going to create a bunch of these, digital dollars, so to speak, and they have all of these bad capabilities if they enforce them. So, for example, because it's digital, its software can be programmed. So you can make it so that you can only, you know, you can never save your money. It expires at the end of the week or at the end of the month.
Wow.
Or you could make it to where, you've eaten too much red meat, so they're not going to let you buy any more red meat for a period of time. They could tax you instantly as soon as you get money that comes into your account. They could just always tax it and give you a refund every year. They could do things like um, give you rebates so that you are incentivized to go spend money at just one store, like say Walmart or something like that. So it's programmable. You can do whatever you want with it. You can also tie it to like a social credit score, where if you say things on social media like I do, my credit score might suck, and they could make it so that I can't do as much with my money. That came out, and everybody talked about that, and I think that freaked people out to the point where a lot of us YouTubers were talking about it, and it became such a big thing that they've now passed a new law that I think it's the Genius Act is where they actually it might have been a different law at the same time that Congress passed that basically said we can't have a CBDC in this country. But if you go and read that law and you look at it, it doesn't define the nature of the product. It just defines a CBDC. So now what they're going to do is they're going to issue them as stable coins. And the only difference is the stable coin is going to come out of a company like Ripple, or it's going to come out of a company like Amazon or Meta, or even from some other third party that the U.S. decides they want to use. And so it's going to be another digital currency, but it'll be like a digital dollar, and every one of those is backed by a U.S. dollar. And the reason this is important is because the BRICS nations aren't buying our debt anymore. We need someone else to buy it, and it's going to be these stable coins. And so when they roll the stable coins out, it's a way to keep the U.S. continually printing money, and then having debt basically be soaked up on the other end, so you don't have hyperinflation. And so, can you stop it? I mean, if everybody refuses to use the system, yes, you can stop it. The problem is how do you get all the people that are into crypto that think it's cool and that it's something that's going to make them a bunch of money? Because most everybody that's in crypto that I know, and I do have crypto, by the way, their cryptos to make money. It's not because they want to have money out of the system. If it was, they wouldn't be buying these coins that are public, right? Like everything you do on
They
crypto
got no
is on a
love.
public
They
ledger.
got no love for currency whatsoever.
No.
So when I buy a Morgan or when I buy a peace dollar, it's like somebody had this in their pocket. They walked around with it. They carried it. They used it. That's what makes it, exciting to me.
It's got intrinsic value.
Exactly. So now what I'll tell you guys on my last video I just put out, I think it was 2 days ago. Oh, it was on Saturday, yesterday actually, is digital ID is the thing to really worry about. If we get the digital ID and it gets passed, basically everything that you do that says who you are, including getting on the internet and accessing like YouTube and your credit cards, your medical records, your bank records, your brokerage accounts, retirement, Social Security, all that stuff, your job. If that all gets linked into a digital ID, then they have the ability to really, put the ringer on you and kind of manipulate you. So right now in the UK, there was a big protest. And there was another country where there's a big protest too. And then out in Vietnam, they basically seized a bunch of bank accounts and they took people's money if they didn't get this digital ID. So, I think there's going to be a time here where we're going to have to stand up, and someone like me that has a good job that's in tech, my company's probably going to follow suit with all that stuff, and it'll be one of those things where I have to decide, do I get a digital ID or do I not have my job anymore? And if I don't have my job, I can't really afford where I live. And if that happens to enough people, what happens? Can you still make your house payment? There's some scary things that can kind of come from that. And so, will people have the guts to stand up for it and, make a difference, or does everybody just go with it? That's the big question.
Yeah. Wow. Man, we live in crazy times.
If you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for everything.
Yeah, that's for sure. I heard that just a couple of days ago, I think it was, that Google is now like part of the United States government, and people that worked for Google went to work for the government people went to work for Google, and they're sharing, they can now share every bit of our digital IDs, man. Like everything we say, text message, emails, yeah, like what you watch on YouTube, your search history. It's just like, we're screwed, man.
Well, there's
Silver Surfer. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
With all the AI stuff that we are trying to, beat China with, this is going to take a whole lot of silver for conductors, the electrical part of it, everything. What do you think that's going to do to the price of silver?
Well, it's going to do a lot. When you look at it right now, we're about 6 years behind in production out of the ground. So it's going to take 6 years to get caught up to be able to produce enough silver every year to meet demand for industrial silver. And we're just barely getting the Samsung batteries that are going to have a kilo of silver in them. So each Samsung battery is going to have one of these things in their batteries for their EVs. Okay, an entire kilo. They're going to make a lot of those, right? And part of all these plans around, digital IDs and stable coins is EVs. They want to be able to have a car that they can, decide how far you can drive it and when it can't go any further. So, the direction is moving in that direction. So same with solar panels. And you're going to see more people getting backup generators at their house, or at least battery backups. So silver production is just going to continue, or demand's going to continue to go up and up and up. What it comes down to is who's selling the silver right now, right? If for every ounce of silver that comes out of the ground, they need to use, say, 2.5 ounces of silver. There is no more silver out of the ground for them to use. So someone has to be selling the silver to them. And right now, from what I can tell, you've got a lot of people unloading their silver because they have had 45 years of PTSD in buying it in 1980 at $50 and feeling like they just need to get out of it. It's a horrible investment. If you're selling silver and you bought it at 50 in 1980, you are losing so much money. It's not even funny. Hold on to it, pass it on to your kids. Do not think it's a bad investment and just dump it. This stuff's about to really skyrocket. There's another comment in here too. Am I more of a stacker or a collector? I'm more of a stacker. I have way more stack than I do collection. This is just some of the fun stuff I have that's a collection. Things like koalas are just part of the stack. I don't pay premium for this. I pay the same price for something like this as I do a silver buffalo.
Well, yeah, it's only going to be worth an ounce anyway.
It is, but that's where I get prices.
When you turn around and go to sell it, it's only going to be worth an ounce.
90% of all of my silver eagles I've purchased, I've bought at, near spot price. So, having a channel I can buy at, a lot of times I get wholesale pricing. So I can buy it $500 to, $1,000 below retail prices if I'm buying a large quantity. And so, for me, that's where the stack is. These are kind of fun things that I have here. And I'll tell you, I'm not going to get a huge price, money back on them. But like these 3 gold coins here, I picked all of those up for about 4% below spot.
Wow.
And I don't really care for those coins necessarily. They're nice coins. There's nothing wrong with them, but I didn't seek them out, but I found a deal on them. So I did it. This one's like a Dogecoin. It's like, okay,
yeah, I don't
whatever.
like those, like the Bitcoin ones. And it's just like, what?
But
I don't know.
But it is 24 karat gold, and I picked it up for 4% below spot.
Well, you got to.
So that's how you go with that. But, can silver become much more expensive, and are those things going to cause it to go up? Yeah, I think they will. We've just made it a strategic reserve for us here in the US. And, I think we're going to see a situation where other countries are going to follow suit, and, we're going to realize we have to pull the silver in. And so what's going to happen is at some point, stackers are going to decide, hey, I'm not selling my silver. I'm going to hold on to it. And so the real question comes down to is like, well, what price do I sell this? And what price do I sell that? And I look at those things and I don't plan on selling them. I'll probably just give them to my kids when I die. And, maybe I'll talk to my grandkids about these things ahead of time, and they'll be like, that's really cool. I want that. It's something they want when you pass.
Right.
This here is the Holy Lance, which is like a replica of the lance that pierced Christ.
Yes.
And
that's a great piece. Man.
I won that as a GAW off of a competition on Instagram. So those are like $300, and that's number 494 out of 999. So they made less than 1,000 of those.
And the capsule fits it, right? It's got a capsule.
Yeah, I don't know if I can pull it out without everything falling, but
Yeah. Oh, no. It's all right.
I took that on a flipping airplane accidentally, and
Oh, dude.
the
Oh, that's like longer than 3 inches. Oh, wait, no, you can't take any knives on an airplane. Never mind.
and so she pulls that out. She's like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Oh crap." And then I said it's a coin, and she looked at the back of it and she goes, oh, "Okay, no problem." So I took it on the plane on my
Wow,
carry on,
that's
and
cool. Good thing
you
you didn't
know,
like take the plane down.
yeah, I'm not a bad person, but I don't think it's sharp enough to kill someone with it. But
Right.
I don't know. I mean,
Right. It's a gray area,
I'd
a
be kind of
silver
freaked
area.
out if I knew someone had that on the plane. So
You can take somebody out with a toothbrush if you want to.
yeah, technically you could,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
um,
Exactly.
it's surprising they let you have a pen or anything on there. But
Yeah.
anyway, they did let me on the plane with it. But yes, I think it's going way higher. And if you look at it, like I've talked to a couple of these big channels that sell like constitutional silver and gold, and then they also do a lot of pre-33 stuff, and they think that kind of the default price for gold is you know just under 50,000, and the price for silver is around 2,000, and that's looking at like fundamentally what it should be worth if you take all the manipulation and paper gold and silver out of the market and you collapse those things. And so, I think the demand is high, and I think the price is way higher. We're just in a manipulated system.
Does that
And
fit
so,
more like in the 19-to-1 silver to gold ratio at 2,000 an ounce?
That'd be 20.
um, I can't remember exactly where their number was between 40 and 50, but you're going to looking kind of, it's probably closer to the 12. So if you take 2000 and you back it out um, on the on a 12-to-1, then that, look at that for the gold price. So I think it's possible. Like, I wouldn't buy this counting that it's going to get to a 12-to-1 ratio. I think you'll probably be just disappointed if you do that. But if you're buying this because you believe that the dollar is going to continue to lose value, and you just want to lock in your money today, um, I think you'll be very pleased and happy with what the metals do. Right now there's a lot of emphasis on crypto. There's a lot of excitement around it. You can make some great money from it real quick. The problem with crypto, and this still applies to gold and silver, by the way, but the problem with quick crypto is it moves so fast. And so,
Yeah.
you can find a coin that like Trump's family coin right now, that's World Liberty Finance, is up 25% in the last 2 hours. I was
Whoa.
just looking at that before I got on here.
Holy
So,
crap.
if you bought that a couple days ago and you bought, you know, a significant amount of it, you're probably thinking right now, do I hurry and sell it and make some money? And you could, and you can make some crazy returns real fast. And there's people that are buying it right now, hoping that it's going to go up 50% before tomorrow. And if it doesn't and it goes back down, they get wiped out. And one of the things I like about gold and silver is it moves slower, and it's harder to move it and sell it, right? Like
Yeah.
these kilos, I'm never going to get the right price that I could get out of them if I just take it to a coin shop and sell it. But if I sell it retail on eBay or at a coin show, and I find the right person, then I have the opportunity um, to get a lot more money for it, right? Retail price. So yes, I
Yeah,
think
you have
silver's
to
going
find
up.
the right person to sell it to, or you're always going to get spot or less.
Exactly. So like these are the America the Beautiful. Um, I'm into these things probably about 180 to $200 on them.
Is that
They're
the
5
Hawaii?
ounces. The Hawaii one I don't have. That one's worth a ton of money.
Yeah, the volcano, right?
Um,
Do you
but
deal with
it's.
any kind of refineries or anything like that?
Do I what?
Do you deal with any kind of refineries or anything like that? Because I know I've heard a lot of people say that the refineries are not buying right now,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
that's why silver has jumped down a little bit
so
because nobody wants to melt, nobody wants to sell.
Yeah, I don't think that's why they're down. The price is down. I think that's different. But um, I couple things. One, I had a video come out today, and what I talked about in that video is one of the main reasons the price moved down on gold and silver is the Fed did not. They did cut interest rates, 25 basis points or a quarter point, but they indicated that they may not be cutting interest rates in December.
December, right? Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
if
watched that
they
video.
if they don't do it in December, then there's a lot of people that are worried they're not going to do it in January as well. And
Which they probably shouldn't be doing, right? I mean,
they shouldn't. I mean, we
Well,
should
they
not
don't.
have cut.
They only drop it a quarter a point at a time. I mean, we should be a lot lower than what we are right now. I mean, our economy is good. The stock market's good. I mean, everything is going good, but the frickin' feds won't drop the frickin' interest rate.
Well, so we have to look at is their mandate. Their mandate is a 2% interest rate. Sorry, 2% inflation rate. Okay.
yeah,
And even with
exactly.
all of their manipulated numbers, we're showing like 2.8%. So we're too high still. So they should not have cut rates yet at all this year. They've done 2 rate cuts. They shouldn't have done those yet. As a matter of fact, they should be raising interest rates. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, people don't want to
Wow,
hear
really?
that. And people don't want to hear that and they don't want to believe it because that sounds like crazy talk. But that's the reality is if their mandate is 2% and we have really low unemployment, they should be raising interest rates. And if you look at things like shadow stats, we're probably much closer to like a 5 to 6% inflation
Yeah.
rate right now. And which means that rates really should be going up. So instead of having 2 cuts this year, we probably should have gone up about 50 basis points or half a point this year. And now, when you talk to finance people and you talk to people that make money off of selling stocks and cryptos and gold and silver, most of them are going to tell you that interest rates need to go way lower. And same with real estate. And they're not looking at the mandate from the Fed, right? They're not looking at like, hey, we have to keep it down to 2% because that's a made up number anyway. Like, why should we have
Yeah.
any inflation at all? Stupid. We should have deflation, very slow deflation. And deflation shouldn't be in the money; it should be in the goods and services by having efficiencies. Like over time, TVs become less expensive because the components are more efficient. And so you have deflation in the cost of a TV, not deflation in the currency. Once you take gold and you take it away from the currency and you don't back it anymore, as soon as you start making more of that currency, you create the inflation, right? So from a fundamental standpoint, rates should be going up. From a economic standpoint, if you think that the economy should be humming at a certain pace and you aren't making as much money as you want to, then you think the Fed should lower rates. That's what the president's looking at. The president doesn't give a crap about all this other stuff, right? He's just looking at it and going, hey, I want to be the president that's known for getting the economy strong and for helping people make more money. And he's not always looking at it to realize how much inflation is going to come into place. Now, most of the people that Donald Trump's going to know have this kind of stuff here, right? Or they have other assets. And so when there's inflation, they don't really care. If most of your wealth is in something like this that can go up or real estate with inflation, then do you really care if there's inflation?
All right, OC and Vegas are both chimed up here, and they're saying that the refineries are still buying. They're just being a little bit selective of what they buy.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing
does
is
that mean constitutional?
So there's a couple things. The COMEX and the LBMA are the 2 big exchanges that the ETFs use for storing the gold and silver. The ETFs then rehypothecate, which just means that they basically take 1 ounce of silver and they turn it into like 360 ounces of silver. Okay, that's what they sell off.
Fuckers.
I know, they've screwed everything up. So when they do that, they're also creating all kinds of new wealth out of it, right? But what's happening is it devalues your silver when they do that because you've got 360 people that think that they have silver. If you didn't do that, those 360 people would be fighting over that same amount of silver and the price would go way up. That's where like you get closer to this, $1,000, $2,000 number.
Well, they
So
they really they all do have it, just not at the same time.
well, yes, they think they have it. So what's happening now is when you own those ETFs and you have a lot of value in there, um, you can redeem it. Okay, so you can basically call up the Comex, the LBMA. It's not as simple as just calling a phone number, but you can call them up, so to speak, and say, "Hey, I want my um, 10,000 ounces of silver delivered that I have in the with them," and
Yeah, you don't want it on
they're
paper
supposed to
anymore. You
deliver
want it
it.
in your hand, right? They want
Yeah,
it delivered. Yeah.
and more people are doing that now. And so what's happening is we had a lot of that silver and gold sent to the U.S. Last year, at the end of last year, and earlier this year, when they were talking about Fort Knox, the audit and stuff. And since that didn't happen, um, it hasn't been materialized, and so we drained the
Oh shit!
LBMA for
Forget
the
Fort
most part.
Knox. That son of a bitch is empty.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough there. But what's happened is there's been a silver squeeze or a shortage over in London, and so they started flying a few weeks ago a bunch of silver from the U.S. back over there to stop it. And so what's
And they
happening
pay
is
like 39% on that, right? Like,
they pay a crazy amount of money. The rates for borrowing that silver are super high, and they've been
yeah.
skyrocketing. They were at like 6%, and I think they got around that high, which is like unheard of because it's usually like maybe 1 or 2%. But anyway, long story short, the refineries in the U.S. are not very efficient, and they need to have more pure silver in order to create these bars to replace what people are redeeming from
Um,
the exchanges. And so what's happening is like the junk silver is 90%, right? Um, and they don't want that right now. They don't want the sterling silver right now either because it takes more effort to refine those. So they're
Yeah,
they're
it takes time. It takes
they're taking the three
chemicals.
nines fine or the four nines fine silver, and actually they may not even be taking four nines fine silver. They may just be taking three nines fine because that's what the Comex bars are and the LBMA bars. And those bars are either going to be kilo size or they're going to be 100 ounce. Or, actually, I think they're mostly 100 ounce on silver or 1,000 ounce on silver. And when they've got to create those and they're not efficient, so that's why there's a big huge backlog on it. It's not that the demand for silver is down; it's actually up. It's just that they can't. They don't want to take any more of it. So right now, I'd recommend getting 90% silver.
so
You can find it at spot
absolutely.
price or lower.
Great time. We're not financial advisors and all that good stuff, nor are we real mobsters. But yeah, no. What about that constitutional price? It's dropped. So you think it will bounce back up as things kind of steady as she
Oh yeah.
goes, or
When you guys let's say there's a bunch of protests in the street around the digital ID. Let's say that comes out next summer, and people are protesting and not showing up to work, and you've got other civil unrest going on, and people start thinking, "Hey, we're at the end of the world," like they did 3 years ago with the pandemic stuff going on. You can see the premiums on constitutional silver be like $10 face. You could see a crazy high premium on that stuff. It's just like when the Eagles were going for like $40 when silver was at 28.
yeah,
So
that was crazy. I remember that. Yeah,
that does happen. And so I've got a few friends that are even in the chat here that are like, "Oh, I don't want constitutional silver right now because it's gone down in price. I want to get rid of mine." Look, when everybody's selling their stuff, that's what you should be buying, and when everybody's
yeah,
buying other stuff, that's when you should be selling to them.
yeah. You got to be like that
So
little black fish swimming the wrong way, man.
you do.
Yeah,
It's like it's
constitutional silver. Constitutional silver is more of a prepper thing than anything else, as far as
well,
I'm concerned. And I have
it's
tons of it. I've
it
got
is it
bags
is
of
from a prepper
coins.
standpoint, but it can be an investment if you buy it right. So like right now, even if
Yeah,
you aren't worried about prepping, if you find out that your local coin shop that's the cheapest silver that they have, and you can buy it at spot or below, You can pick up bags of that right now and hold on to it, and the price will go way up on it, and you'll be able to flip it and make some money.
In a different
Um,
climate, and just wait for the different climate, right?
yeah, like I've bought larger bars that I said I would never do ever again, buying big bars, and I've had a few opportunities where I could buy them, so I have. And the last big bars I bought of silver, I bought some 100-ounce bars, and I bought them for about um, let's see, what did I pay for them? 3,250 a bar, somewhere around there.
Which ones
Um,
did you get?
they are the stackers from Scottsdale Mint.
Oh, okay.
So I paid 50 cents below spot for those. And I've almost doubled my money on those things.
Nice.
And that was just in May. And I didn't want them,
Right?
right?
It's crazy.
I'm like, I don't want that, but okay, what's the deal? And I see it and I'm like, okay, I'll probably make money off that. It'll keep going up. And so at some point, I want to turn those into, I want to get enough of them to turn it into like a monster box of Eagles, which is what I'd rather have. And I think,
So here's a question for you
Yep.
that I think most people want to, or think about or want to know. And not that you don't have a crystal ball and all that, but do you think that silver could like drastically drop? I mean, like scary drop?
Yes.
Yes.
So, so here's what I would tell you guys on this.
Hold,
I'm a little,
hold,
I'm a little.
don't sell, hold.
So here's what I'll tell you guys.
Right.
I process all this information. Okay, so I'm ADHD. My superpower is taking everything in and processing it like a computer and being able to say, okay, what's the probability of things, and where can we go? So I'll give you a couple extremes on this. First, I'll tell you what's most likely going to happen. What's most likely going to happen is we're going to see gold get up to between $8,000 and $12,000 by 2030, and partially that's going to be due to a lot of more money printing that's going to go on. So we could be somewhere like 50 trillion in debt by the time we get there. Maybe we're 60 trillion in debt. Okay.
Yeah.
So that can all happen. We might be 40 trillion in debt by the end of the year. We just added $1 trillion in 2 months, by the way, in debt. So I think that's probably a good average case of where we could see gold see gold hit in the next 4 years. So there's that. Silver could easily have its ratio go down to 50 or 40. And so I think we're going to see silver somewhere in the $300 to $600 range by 2030. That those numbers to me are conservative. I could see gold getting up to 20,000 or more. I could see silver getting up to 1,000.
Now, do you think we'll still be winning at that point, or will the dollar have dropped so much in value that it doesn't matter because steaks are, $180 now for a porterhouse?
You're still going to win. So if inflation's really 6%, you're going to be like 30 to 40% a year gain.
Okay, so they're trying to handle that.
So what I'm saying is, if you were to get something else besides gold and silver that was going to keep up with inflation to make it neutral, you're going to be multiples of times better off having the metals.
Good. Thank you.
Too many people look at that and they say, well, if silver's going to $100, then that means, a Coca-Cola is $50. It doesn't mean that.
A lot of people say that. Yeah.
But that's what people say because it's part of the equation. But it's not true. And my issue is having the time to put all this into charts and show you guys. I don't have the time to do that right now. But
Oh yeah, no.
what I can tell you is that it's going to go. It always outpaces it. I'll give you a quick anecdotal, and then I'll come back on the dropping thing. So, in the year 2000, if I had put all my money I had into gold and put it into a vault and left it there, instead of trying to do a bunch of real estate projects and startup companies, and all this investing that I've done over 25 years, I would have 10 times the amount of wealth I have today. and I've been pretty successful. Gold has blown away the
I was
S&P
gifted a
500
piece of
for
gold
25 years.
when I was back at, I think I was like 28, 29 years old. My uncle died, my godfather, and I was gifted a 1 ounce piece of gold. And back then it was only worth $350. And now we're at 4,000.
Exactly. So in
Holy
2000,
shit.
it was around $230 plus whatever premium was on there. And so if you had $1 million in the year 2000, you would have almost $20 million today. Okay. Now, if you just put $1 million cash in the bank,
You'd have nothing. You'd have
you would
$1 million.
you'd have $1 million, right? If you had put it into the S&P 500, you'd be somewhere like 2.5 million. So gold is kicking everybody's butt. Now, the only thing it hasn't kicked the butt of is some of these cryptocurrencies where someone maybe got in at the very beginning. But the silly thing with the cryptocurrencies is there really isn't anybody that was in the beginning of Bitcoin that held on to a substantial amount of it, right? There's maybe a couple dozen people. So I get in arguments with people all the time on X about Bitcoin when they start getting into things like, I can transfer $1 billion instantly and I can leave the country and just have a 12-digit code in my head. And I'm like, well, great for you. I'm glad you have $1 billion. They don't have $1 billion. They're just trying to be annoying little kids. Is usually what happens.
Well, Silver Surfer, you said before, you collected stamps as a kid.
Yep.
I did the same thing as well. And they're only worth what somebody's going to pay for them, just like crypto.
Yep.
That's my opinion.
It's totally true. And so I think that's going to be the issue with that. Okay, now let's talk the case of things going down. So that's the case, I think, of where do things probably go? You're probably looking at between $300 and $600 silver by 2030, and you're probably looking at $8,000 to $12,000 gold. And I think those are conservative numbers. At the very least, $150 silver. I'd have a hard time seeing it not do better than that. Now, on the flip side, what we could have happen, and this would be temporary, this wouldn't be 2030. We could still have those numbers hit in 2030, but before we get there, we can have a situation where we have a massive stock market crash. All the indicators look just like 1929, right before the big stock market crash. That was a 90% crash. And so if we have a 90% crash in the equities market, and it follows the same pattern as that one did, then we would expect stocks to crash 90%, and then they would basically take I don't want to say the right amount of time, but I think it was around like 30 years, 28, 30 years to recover to the highs that it was at the day before it crashed. And so, the scary thing there is if all your money's in stocks and it crashes 90% and it takes 20 to 30 years to recover, were you planning on that for retirement? How are you going to survive? So that's a reason to be diversified. And I'm not a financial advisor or planner, so I'm not telling you to sell your stocks. I'm telling you to have that conversation with your stockbroker. And if you don't have a broker, then the company that holds your stocks, or at least, advise with someone on that. But if we have a massive stock market crash like that, it's going to cause what's called margin calls. A lot of people that are in the stock market borrow against their stocks. So, what they'll essentially do is they'll take this amount of money, right? So that's a stock. And then they basically go and borrow from this to get this many shares of stock, right? Where they can margin it. And when they do that, it allows them to make a ton of money and multiply it. But when it starts going down, it creates a kind of a sucking sound in the system where they get a call from their broker and says, hey, you owe me a bunch of money or I'm selling your shares. And if that happens to enough people, it becomes like a downward spiral and it cascades and collapses. And I've been there before, by the way, where I had a broker calling me every day for like 2 weeks in a row. And then I finally just said, sell everything. It was getting too annoying. But with this issue, when that happens, they have to get money from somewhere. So history tells us that people do the same thing with cryptocurrencies. So what could happen is the stock market starts crashing, and they go and they sell their cryptocurrencies to pay for their stocks, basically for the margin. So what ends up happening is you start drawing all of these assets down because too many people are selling them too quickly, and they need the cash. And so that's how you get the stock market to go down 90%. That's how you get crypto to go down 90%. And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
if they have gold and silver, they're going to sell their gold and silver too to shore that up. Okay. However, and you have to remember too that the spot price of gold and silver is not the price you pay for these things. So the spot price of gold and silver is based on the ETFs, and it's based on the mining stocks. And so if you've got a bunch of people that are playing the stock market that are on margin, even with the mining stocks and with the ETFs, SLV and GLD, and they start selling that like crazy because their broker's telling them you're over leveraged, they can crash the spot price of gold and silver. So let's talk that first. So the
Oh,
spot price of gold and silver could go way down. You could see a spot price of silver down in like $15. Okay. You could see
Well,
the
that's what
spot
we just
price
saw.
of
whew,
you can see
that's
the
a
spot price of gold down somewhere close to say $1,200, $1,000. That could
wow. It
happen.
just
The
dropped to like
refineries,
$250 a couple
refineries
days
weren't
ago.
buying. You know, the LCSs weren't freaking buying their silver no more because it got so high and went up to $54. Everybody's going in there trying to, you know, get rid of their stuff, and the refineries aren't buying that 54. There ain't no way in hell.
Yep.
So, you know, that's why we had this little crash. I mean, right now, you know, an hour before I came in here, we are at 49.10 for silver, and we are at 40.47 for gold. So we're climbing back up there, and that's not even our market that's opened up yet.
No, tomorrow will be interesting. So could it go down, guys? Yes, it could go way down. But you have to keep in mind, like what you're seeing right now is the premiums have been high. I was looking at like AppMex. They have a $300 premium on gold buffaloes. Okay.
Wow. Well,
That's the highest
the,
I've ever
the, the
seen.
American coins always have a higher premium on the gold, I've
But
noticed.
$300, I
Yeah,
mean,
that is a lot.
just
That's
2 months
ridiculous.
ago, 2 months ago it was $100. And then it went to
Oh,
125, and then it went to 150. And now it's $300. The
wow.
Eagles are a little bit lower than that, but you can go buy Krugerrands for maybe $80 over spot, $100 over spot. So,
But you're saying
Krugerrand
it's
right
better.
there.
You're saying it's better to get the American because, like with the Silver Eagles, the premium goes up even in times when the spot price goes up, where the others it comes down,
it does. So I'll hit that in
like
a
on the
second.
world
But
silver bullion.
what I wanted to hit real fast to just close it off with you guys too is if we see the spot prices of silver go way down to like 15 and gold to say 1,000, okay, something extreme, we've just entered into something that's worse than the Great Depression. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's so bad. It means that we have 20+% job losses. It means that people are standing in line to get food. They're starving, and everything's super bad. The government, especially this president, does not want to see that happen. And so the odds of that happening are pretty slim. And what I mean by that is the Great Depression, worse than the Great Depression. We could have prices crash and they could stay down there for a little bit. But what you could end up having is everybody's going to get a $10,000 stimulus payment. They'll just go print more money. And all of a sudden, with that $10,000 stimulus payment, they go and they start bringing the markets back up. So there are things they can do that will, kind of get it going back up again.
That's how I think they're going to usher in that stable coin or CBDC.
Probably.
They're going to say like, well, here, if you join, we're going to give you 10 grand. You're like, hell yeah. Why wouldn't you? Right. I mean, yeah,
Yes.
entice. Because it doesn't matter to them. The money is all fictitious. It's, they could give you any amount. Well, I'm, reasonable, I guess.
This is what they own, right? They own this kind of stuff. Okay. And when you own gold and silver, if you just go print a bunch more money, this stuff just becomes more valuable. It doesn't matter to you. So what I'm saying is, even if the spot price drops drastically like that, it doesn't mean that the price to buy physical is going to drop that much. So you could have a complete unwinding where gold is at $1,000 on the spot price, but you can't buy a gold eagle for below $2,500.
Oh,
And the reason for that is because it costs $1,500 to refine it, and then you have to stamp it, right? You have to mint it. And so, if the US Mint isn't willing to sell anything under, say, 2,000 or $2,200, then you're just not going to you're not going to get it. Now, if everybody's starving, then you can have the physical market go down, right? So it might be the kind of thing where you have a huge spread between buying and selling too, where you can't buy the coins for less than 2,500, but they're not going to give you. They're only going to pay you $1,900 for the coin,
wow.
and so they've got these big spreads. So you got to keep in mind that the dynamics, if they get really screwed and skewed, that we could have some crazy things that no one ever talks about, no one ever goes into. They don't understand it. Because you're not talking to a lot of people that study economics. You're talking to a lot of people that have just been in the market and have been stacking and they've been a coin dealer, and they only know what they've seen. But none of them were selling gold and silver in 1929, and none of them were selling it in 1930 and 1931 and 32. So they don't understand the fluidity of this stuff. So one thing I would say is the probability of us having it drastically drop like that and stay there for any long period of time is really slim. We could see the stock market drop, we could see crypto drop, we could even see gold and silver drop, but I don't think it'll stay there very long. I'd be surprised if it stayed there more than 3 months. And then I think you would see a pretty big explosion, because I think they would just put so much money into the system that it explodes up. So for that reason, I always recommend have 3 months worth of cash around for expenses, as well as get as close as you can to a year supply of food storage that can last you 20 to 30 years without it going bad, so that if something like this happens, I don't have to sell any of this stuff, right? I just hold
Mhm.
on to it because I believe it's going to be worth so much more. You can tap into your cash, you can tap into your food storage, even if you get laid off. And then the last resort is I start selling more of the collectible stuff. I'd start selling the coins I don't care as much about. And this is more of my fun collection stuff here. I don't recommend having a lot of this, but it's a little bit more fun to look at.
Oh yeah,
Um,
makes it enjoyable.
it makes it enjoyable, and you got to have fun with it. Like these things are ripoffs, but they're cool.
Yeah,
Like
we always pay.
these were
We
like
Oh,
always
80
pay
bucks.
too much more premium for
I think
what we buy.
I think Kansas Kid calls that the loser collection.
Totally.
Like the biggest mistakes you've ever made.
But I
I'm just
will say
kidding.
things like
I'm
this. I
playing.
mean, I
Yeah, but
paid
they're
spot
pretty.
I
I
paid
mean, that's
spot
what
price
we
for this
like.
though. Someone comes by a coin show and they're like, "Hey, I want to sell this," and I'm like, "Okay, 4% below spot, 5% below spot." They're like, "All right, I'll take the cash." You can
Well,
pick up some crazy deals like this.
yeah,
Um, so now I've also overpaid those triangle coins. I have
yeah.
I sold to Frostbite the regular silver, and I kept the antiqued ones. So I
Oh,
have
yeah,
the
the
antiqued
antiqued.
ones.
Nice.
Yeah.
Those are great. Wow.
Um, but I sold the other ones because I went through a phase of, hey, I need to get rid of all this stuff I bought premium so I can buy less expensive silver. And I couldn't sell it fast enough. And so now it's kind of caught up to what it's worth. And now it's like, okay, might as well just hold on to the coin,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
I gotta ask Humble real quick, man, because you said you got to take off or wrap it up. But Humble, have you got any questions? You haven't said hardly anything. I mean, you've been soaking it up like crazy, I'm sure.
I
But
think Humble's sleeping.
Oh,
no,
Humble's not sleeping. No.
no, not at
Um,
all. He's soaking.
yeah, no. I've just been listening. Um, I'm just glad Stacking Surfer came on tonight so he could talk with us. Um, are you having to leave there, Surfer?
I'm okay for a little bit. I could go maybe like another 30 minutes.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. So I don't really have any questions other than I mean, you kind of already you touched on a whole bunch of reasons why you stack, and kind of what you stack. But what you're showing us is just your fun part of things, and that makes sense because there becomes a time where it kind of stacking can kind of feel a little mundane, right? And just you're doing the same thing over and over again, and you can get bored with it, and that's when you need to add a little flavor by getting something that's cool to look at or something that's cool and exciting, so it brings that life back into doing it. And having a deep stack is very important. So for everybody out there that stacks, just my advice is always
Yeah, if you're just stacking buffaloes all the time, I mean, it gets boring. You gotta switch it up. You gotta bring in something
Yeah.
pretty.
You might start melting them if you were doing that.
Well, I would say you're not a stacker, right? Like, if you want to be an investor, just go buy bars. Go buy kilo-sized bars of silver, and
Yeah, that's a sweet
throw them in a
size.
safe, and never look at them, never worry about them. Don't ever tell anybody about it. You're just throwing them in there, right? And you get a good price per ounce on them. If you're a stacker, and technically that's a stacker too, but I see that as more of an investor person that's not really doing the hobby part of it. If you're a person that's stacking and you're having fun and you're part of the community, you want things that you can chase, like putting a little set together or a little series together. You want to have a few fun coins you can put out. Now, unfortunately, I don't leave this stuff out; it gets put away, and some of it's really cool that I probably should set up a studio in this office I'm in.
So do you collect like prospectors and A-mark rounds and Hoffmans? Are you chasing all the vintage stuff?
No, but I have a bunch of it, but I don't chase it. I just
Cool.
I find it at spot price and I just hold on to it.
Oh, you're bargain binning it.
So like I bought some tubes from a local coin shop, and a whole tube was prospectors from the 80s.
Nice.
And I paid they charged me less than they do for silver buffaloes.
Holy
And
crap.
I'm like,
Are you kidding me?
no, I'm like, you don't know what's in there, do you?
Holy shit!
So I picked up a bunch of stuff that was someone had just unloaded it a few days prior to it. It was all from the 80s. There's some of them have trains on them, and there's some really old buffaloes in there, and they're all in like perfect condition. And I paid I think on those I might have paid 50 cents over spot per coin. But that was silver was down in like the mid 40s. And so, I've already made money on that stuff. But when you look at what the coins are, if I were to go sell those on eBay, I could probably get an average of like $60 a coin.
Yeah.
And there's my next question.
All day long. All day long.
Have you sold on eBay at all?
Yeah, I've sold about 100 coins on eBay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I would sell more, except that I would also do a lot more gauze if it wasn't for sending stuff to people, right? If I could just send you money like
Right.
digitally, like, here, do you want some crypto? That's easier than sending you silver. It's the
I feel that.
packaging, it's getting the address, it's all that stuff that's a pain in the butt. And then with eBay, it's the fees. They charge me about 8% fees, so I'm lower than the 15%. But I've sold a lot of gold on there. That's where, like, I sold my Queen's Beast Completer gold coins. I bought 2 of those for below the price, for about $100 less than a gold eagle. And
Wow.
I sold 2 of those, and I was able to go buy 3 gold buffaloes with the proceeds. And that's even after paying taxes on the gains. I sold them for double the price of spot at the time.
Wow.
And they were cool coins, and I was like, do I keep it? But I'm like, I can make like $1,500 on this thing, or 2,000. It was $2,000 on this. Why would I not sell it?
Yeah.
So the other thing I'll tell you with this too is be careful what you get completely married to, right? None of the stuff that's up here right now, am I so married to it that I couldn't sell it? But I will tell you, like, those kilo stackers, there's very few of them, right? There's only 333 of these guys each, and there's only 99 of this guy. They would be kind of silly to sell those. I'd be silly to try to just unload those at any time soon. But
Yeah.
there's a price I would pay for it. If someone approached me and said, hey, I'll pay you $4,000, $5,000 for that, I think I would sell it. And I'd try to go see if I could find it again for less, or I'd be okay just not having it. But I'm not going to go sell it for what the metal content weight is.
Yeah, I've only been stacking and collecting. This is more collecting, all the pieces that you love, deep stack, we always talk about. But as time goes on, like back in the day, like, oh, I will never get rid of that. Yeah, nowadays I'm like, what, I mean, yeah, I think the novelty kind of
Right?
wears off the longer you collect.
I got shit in my safe that I don't even freaking know what it is anymore. Like, I'll look through my safe and I'll be like, oh, where the hell did I pick this up?
Oh,
I
God. You're getting old, dude.
I find stuff like that
Yeah,
too.
I'm getting old.
But
I ain't gonna
I
lie.
find that stuff, and I look and I'm like, wait, I don't even know where that came from. And my spreadsheet blew up like 2 years ago. I have no idea what I have.
Ah,
I had it on my computer, and I've got a Mac, and I guess it was saving it to the cloud, and it lost the spreadsheet. Like the spreadsheet blew up,
ah.
and so I have my receipts in a big huge pile, and I really don't have the motivation to go back through like hundreds of receipts and sticky notes of paper and things of what I put down. But you kind of have to at some point if you're selling any of this stuff and you want to recover a portion of the basis for it, which is what you paid for it. But the
So
reality is I don't know what I have.
you have
Now, here's
no
an
idea what your
interesting
dollar cost
question.
average is.
Oh, sorry.
I have a guess of how many ounces I have, and I don't know how close I am to that guess.
I ain't got a freaking clue.
I've got a quick question here from the chat. That sorry about that. The mobsters down there. We've been neglecting you guys. We're just so absorbed. Please understand. Real quick, we've got a wrong channel. Stewart is here. Michael and Nancy Stacking is here. Jackknife is here. Muscle Shell. He's always saying, Good to see you, Muscle Shell. We've got Jeffrey Button here as well. Vegas Stacker. Let's see. FG Stacker still here. OC as well. Yeah, LL, thank you so much she's like being a moderator out there. You're awesome, L. Thank you. But here's a great question. We were talking about like things that our precious metals that we collect. SGTRP says, do any of you four have platinum or an opinion? And I'll tell you what, I did buy platinum early on in 3 years ago. I actually sold it. I only made like $25 on an ounce. Wish I would have held on to it longer. How about you guys?
I just got my first piece this week.
10th ouncer.
1/10 ounce.
Yeah, man. Congratulations, dude.
No,
I have platinum a little bit.
And platinum's on my radar, but I don't have any yet. But that same guy, his name is Richard. He actually asked if you Surfer could talk about Platinum Eagles and what you think they're going to actually be doing here soon.
I have not heard any word of us making Platinum Eagles again. So I don't know if there's any news that's out there or not. I know we haven't made them for a few years now. I have two Platinum Eagles that are MS70s, and they're from the last year that they made them. I think it was 2023, if I remember correctly. And that was another deal where a local guy told us, he's like, hey, I've got a bunch of these Platinum Eagles and I can, they're $100 over spot price. Do you guys want them? I'm like, yeah, I'll take them. So I picked up a couple of those, and then recently I picked up some platypuses from I think those are from the Perth Mint. Maybe not the Perth Mint, oh gosh. It's where they make the koalas from. I don't know if that's the Perth Mint or not. I know it's for Australia, but
koalas
I guess,
are Perth.
Is it Perth? So
yeah.
Anyway, I picked up some of that stuff, right? So platinum to me is something that I don't recommend anybody buy until you have your silver stack where you want it and your gold stack where you want it. To me, it's icing on the cake. It has huge potential to make money. It's not ever been used as money. And, it's not going to really take off until the economy takes off. It's not just going to take off over gold because we have inflation. It's not how platinum works. Same with palladium. I don't have any palladium either.
Yeah, platinum was 4,000 when gold was 1,000, right? At one point, or somewhere in there.
It wasn't quite that extreme, but it was close to that. And if you look at the markings on the denomination for it is it's $100, whereas
Yeah.
gold is only 50. So, it's kind
Right.
of looked at as twice as valuable as gold. So it should have some huge upside potential. But here's the thing: we get into an SHTF type situation, and you're pulling out your silver. Hopefully you guys have a lot of junk silver, constitutional silver. If you're worried about that from a prepper stacker standpoint, that's the stuff you want to use first, right? You're going to use your old dimes, quarters, and half dollars to buy food.
Yeah.
But if you have enough food, you also have the opportunity to sell some of your food to get a whole bunch of metals as well. And if but I wouldn't sell your food unless you have the way of restocking it or growing it yourself. But with that said, I do think platinum is a good investment, but I would wait until your stack's good. And so what is a good stack? In my opinion, I think everybody should have at least $100 face of junk silver per family member. For silver, that's minimum. And then for gold, I don't think you should have any gold unless you have wealth. And if you have wealth, then I recommend 1 ounce of gold for every $50,000 of net worth you have. And the reason for that is I think the fundamental value of gold is pretty close to 50 grand. And so if everything falls apart and breaks, and you lose your 401k and your retirement and your house is not worth much, I think gold goes up to that $50,000 value, and therefore you can replace your entire net worth with your gold stack.
So you're basically a hard hedger. That's it.
I'm a hedge stacker is the term I've invented. So
Yeah.
I stack about 10 different ways. I have gold backs. I've got, this is kind of art stacking here. Then I have, then I have a lot of eagles, and I have, weight stack, and I have constitutional, I have pre-33. I've got bars. So I stack in multiple different ways. And part of me looks at it and goes, this is dumb. I should just have a bunch of bars and not worry about it. But then what's the fun in it?
So the takeaway is be fully diversified in your metals, and not just the rest of your portfolio, but within your metals as well.
Yes. And I would still be diversified, guys. Like my family lost 99% of its wealth in 2008.
Yeah, you said that. Your
I don't
grandfather owned a bank, right?
He did. So my family lost a lot of money. And it's the kind of money, when I heard it from a friend at a company I worked at that was working with my uncle previously before he came and worked at the same company. And I was like, no, my family doesn't have that much money. He's like, yeah, you do. And I'm like, well, then where is it? I want to spend it. I grew up in a very wealthy family that wasn't wealthy when I was a kid, right? And it's when someone starts a business and you continue to own the business, you don't have any wealth. It's all on paper. It's not like you have to borrow against it, or you have to sell your ownership in your company to get the money out. You might be making enough cash flow to pay good bills and stuff, but the amount of money that was there was insanely large. And we never lived that style. We always stayed in like Best Western hotels growing up. We lived in middle America neighborhoods and stuff. And then there was a day all of a sudden where my parents moved into a much bigger neighborhood in California. And I'm like, okay, we must have money because this is a lot nicer house. But it was still a fraction of what the family had. And then in 2008, the business goes down, and the family loses most of their money. I thought we were diversified. We had a lot of real estate projects in multiple states, multiple real estate projects. I had a bunch of real estate projects too. And I had, stock in this company as well as stock in the stock market. And we got wiped out pretty hard. What saved us, though, was, at least for my parents, my dad had all his stuff paid off. He had no debt. And then they had some money in the bank. And that's kind of what saved him on things. But this is the stuff that you have for that kind of insurance. And so, diversification. I've got cryptos. I have stocks. I have a retirement account. It's not very big, but I do have that. I've got a house. I've got precious metals. And I have cash. and I also have food storage, ammunition, weapons, and I know how to use them, and I'm pretty good at it. And so I look at all those things as diversification. Um, and then everything's in a trust, so I technically don't own anything. So if someone sues me personally, um, there's nothing to go after. If someone sues my company, Stacking Surfer, there's stickers. There's a box of stickers like this you can get. That's about what you can sue it for. Everything else is protected in a way that you can't touch it. I can't even touch it because I don't own it, but I have the ability to control it. Everything you see on this table, I don't own. And so I'm a huge proponent of setting up trusts, living wills, doing it the right way, having a good attorney, a good accountant. I'm also a big proponent for diversifying across different asset classes. You never know what's going to take off and what's going to get hit. And then within the asset class, you want to diversify too. You don't want to just have, 1,000-ounce Comex bar sitting in a safe. It's not very diversified. And unless you have a torch, I don't know how you're gonna chop that thing up.
Actually, I've got a story. They
You
do
guys
chop
figured it
those
out?
things up
I
with
know they do.
lasers. They cut them
Lasers,
and then
okay.
yeah, they sell them off, man, as pieces of Comex bar. It's pretty interesting, and I almost bought a slice once.
So, Surfer, just a quick question for clarification for the chat. You said $100 junk silver. Why face value? Why is that a number for you? And what would the purpose be? Would that be a shit hits the fan situation? Or
Yeah,
is
so
that
that's
just in
that's an
general?
SHTF situation. So here's the deal: a silver dime will, in history, get you a dozen eggs or a loaf of bread. Okay,
Yeah,
so
or a gallon of gas.
if you take $100 face of silver dimes, that's 1,000 dimes. Divide that by 360.
Gotcha.
It basically gets you. You get to use 2.7 dimes a day for 1 year. So, you get to buy some eggs and some bread. So it's, you might be able to live a year and a half off of that. That's why.
Okay. So no, there was some question as to where the $100 face value came from. But it's mathematical for you in a shit hits the fan scenario.
Yeah. So another way to look at it, guys, is this. Figure if things get really bad, you might have 2 meals a day, and figure you're gonna need 2 dimes a day per family member to live. Now, what I'll tell you though is, let's say the stock market crashes, we go into a Great Depression, and at the same time our electrical grid goes down, right? So it's spotty, right? So things we're not in a great shape, and so you're not getting your stores replenished with food, and there's starting to be some food shortages, and so they're rationing it, and you've got National Guard showing up with food rations and stuff like that.
Hey, we
Have
had that in
seeds.
Vegas last week.
So it can happen, right? So have things like seeds and know how to do some gardening, basic gardening, so that if something like that happens, you can start growing your own food. If you've got food storage, you can start using that, right? When they had the big hurricane hit up in Asheville, North Carolina, no one was using, as far as I know, gold and silver or crypto. When everything fell apart and they were struggling up there, they used cash as trade. So if everything falls apart, you're most likely to be using cash, because that's what people are familiar with, and you would be bartering with goods like deodorant, eggs, frozen chicken in your freezer, just household things that you have laying around.
Yeah, I
So
kind of see it as like it's going to be more just trading and bartering for a while. I think you
yes,
wouldn't break out the silver for a ways down the road till everything started running out, or because yeah, it's people are going to just need what they need, and it'll be a time when neighbors actually start to meet neighbors.
totally. I think when the silver and gold, so the gold, you're not going to be bartering with gold. Gold, you're gonna hide this stuff. Unless you're talking
Bury
really
it
small
deep.
fractions like grams. You're gonna hide this gold until the SHTF is over and society starts to come back, and you're going to use your gold to get wealthy again. That's what you're going to use the gold for. The silver, you're basically going to wait until people start to realize, hey, the country's in such bad shape. I'm not even sure if this money's worth anything. And so that's when you go to use the silver, is when the dollars stop working. People don't want it anymore. And then you've got to go convince people, say, hey, this Silver Eagle here is, should buy X amount of goods, right? So right now, a Silver Eagle is going for what, $50 maybe? 40, no, not
Yeah.
$50. Sorry. They're probably going for about $57, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the premium is. I haven't been following it since
So
the big surge.
I think they're 57. But there's not a lot of silver out there, guys. So if everything starts to fall apart and you're using it as money, this might actually end up turning into being worth about like $200. As I'm just throwing that number out there. And so you've got to convince people, hey, this is worth $200 worth of goods. And you've got to kind of think about like what you're picking up from them on what it's worth. And that's why this can be hard to use in a barter situation, as you're like, well, this is worth $200. And they're like, well, I don't have $200 of stuff. That's why you want things like half dollars, because now you can go down to $100. And then if you have a quarter, you're going down to like, say, $45.
Fractional,
and then
man.
if you have a
Grammys.
dime, you're going way lower, right? Now, if all you had was kilo silver bars, well, now you're up a creek. But
oh yeah, because somebody's making out fat on that deal, and it's not you.
Exactly. Now, what I will tell you is, if you show up to my little
let me just jump in here real quick.
Sure.
Because I'm going to tell you something, right now. If shit gets that bad to where you have to barter for silver, your Buffalo round isn't going to mean shit, but they will slice your goddamn throat for a bottle of water.
Yes.
Plain and simple.
Yes. So, but I don't think you're going to be using silver at that point. I think if things get super, super bad, you'll be using cash, and you'll be using, but mostly you'll be just trading, right? Someone's going to have a Coke in a can, and they're willing to trade that for, like a granola bar kind of thing. You're going to have a lot of that going on for a long time. Once people start growing food and the supplies are coming in, okay? Because something globally happening where everybody's out of food and water is pretty slim. And in situations like that, it gets even harder. But let's just say the Western United States has massive earthquakes. It takes like a week or two for the Red Cross to show up. And bridges are broken down, buildings have fallen down. They're not going to get the freeways repaired for 3 months. There's
Hold
no
on a minute. Wait.
replenishment.
FEMA will be there in 2 hours, man.
Oh, yeah, FEMA's great.
2 months.
No. They will not be there in 2 hours. It'll be like a month. So,
Yeah, you mean like 2 months?
Yeah, exactly. So, well, okay. So if the San Andreas and the Cascadia faults go off, you are talking.
Amen.
You are talking like what?
Don't say that.
40 or 50 million people will be affected, right? And
Yeah.
There'll be deaths. There won't be a lot of deaths, but there'll be, thousands of deaths. There won't be millions of deaths, but there'll be thousands of deaths.
Right.
And it'll be hard to get the infrastructure, and the train lines aren't going to work. The semi trucks aren't going to work. You'll have ports potentially if there weren't tsunamis and stuff. So, you'll have China and other countries will probably be dumping food and dropping it and all that kind of stuff. So if things get bad enough like that, you're not using silver for a while. It's not going to be until.
China ain't going to do shit.
Well, I don't know. They might, though. They might. They want us to buy
No,
their stuff.
China fucking China wants to take us over. They ain't going to do shit.
Well, it might be a way to take us over, though, too. So who knows? But what I'll say is, if you get into a point where you are bartering with this stuff and you show up with these two kinds of coins here, and you got a third one that's just a really gnarly looking buffalo, this might have been $80 when I bought it, and that buffalo might have been $25 when I bought it. I'm not going to get that much more value for this coin over the buffalo. However, I will, if there's not much food left, I'll probably get the food with this coin over a buffalo. Like I would take that coin over a nasty buffalo. So, there are some benefits, and I don't think it's all just going to come down to weight per se. And then you get preferences that start to happen into certain areas. There's the movie, The Civil War, that came out a couple of years ago. And no one wanted US dollars. They stopped at a gas station and they had Canadian dollars and they were able to use those. So you may have a situation where like Silver Eagles are really popular and maples aren't, or maples are. So, there's things like that. But, as far as SHTF and bartering goes, there's the catastrophe type situation that can happen with that. But then there's also just the side situation. So let's talk about stablecoin for a sec. What if the stablecoins come out and the stablecoins make it so that you're not allowed to buy gold and silver anymore with the stablecoins, and the coin shops won't buy your gold and silver anymore? That's also kind of like an SHTF as far as monetary systems go. I guarantee you that if I were a mechanic and you showed up and said, "Hey, I don't have enough stable coins, but I need my car worked on. Will you take silver?" There'll be an underground, black market of silver and gold probably being traded. And so
And
you
that's
can have
how
a
probably
situation like that.
most economies came back, was because people had silver coins hidden away and stashed. And when the dollars or whatever their currency wasn't worth shit, they would pull those out. And
Yep.
yeah, Austrian Stacker, a friend of mine, he said his grandmother went through it twice. Where that's what people started doing. Yeah, it was totally underground economy.
Yeah, it's Civil War, not Silver War. That's just my language, but I agree with you on that. So you can have like, there's no SHTF out there, right? Like people are still going to amusement parks and they're buying cars and houses and they have jobs and everything. But it might get down to a point with the stable coins where they restrict how much you can use or what you can buy, and you want a freaking another burger, right? You want more hamburgers. And so, there could be situations where you're able to use silver to get more of what you want, even though there's not really an SHTF. Um, so, and I'm not saying that they're going to make it so you can't sell your gold and silver and use it. I'm not saying that. I don't know what's going to happen in those areas, but what I will tell you though is, um, I believe the price of all this stuff is going up a lot, or I wouldn't be stacking it. I'd be putting it into crypto or into the stock market. I do think the stock market's overpriced, and I think cryptos are overpriced. But things can be irrational for a very long time. And if they're about to give everybody a stimulus of $2,000, and then if they're about to go to 50-year mortgages, people will free up a lot of cash doing that.
Oh.
And it is going to be a stimulus for the economy, but it's going to be very inflationary. And so, I think all of this is going to be going up quite a bit. But we could have some dips in the process. But to me, everything's pointing up. Like I'm still buying. I bought a couple days ago, and I bought last week and the week before that. And I just, when I find good deals, I add to it and I go from there.
Well, it's
Well,
always
Silver
good to buy.
Surfer, I live in Florida, and Ron DeSantis has just made the bill that makes gold and silver, viable money. You're not going to bring it to your grocery store, but if you bring it to a car dealership, or you want to pay a lawyer, or doctor bills, something like that. I mean, because these kids ain't even able to figure it out at a grocery store.
No, so and the states have to still figure it out. Like the state of Utah was the first one to make like gold legal tender, but there's no way to pay your taxes with it. So even in Florida, Governor DeSantis has to figure out, where do you take the gold to pay your property taxes? Where do you take the gold to pay um, well, you don't have state income tax, so any of your other state fees that you might have, that because if it's legal tender, you should be able to pay anything that has to do with the state, right? So if you have like a car registration, if you have property taxes, if you have your business and you're paying let's see, what else would you do businesses still pay income tax in Florida?
Yeah, everybody pays income tax.
So well, you have your
I
federal
think
and you have your state though. So anyway, there has to be a way to transact that. And so one of the things that I'm kind of looking at is, if I relocate from California, I'd love to go to a state that is recognizing gold and silver as legal tender, because then I can start paying my property taxes that way if I need to.
All right, welcome to Florida. Come on in.
I think the pause on that, Surfer, is the federal claiming. is how do you claim it? You know, if somebody's property taxes are $15,000 and they're converting that from metals, do they have to claim it a certain way because it's over $10,000 in metals? I'm sure that's probably the biggest hiccup as to how he's got to figure that out. I mean, honestly, that would be the only thing that I could think of as to why they couldn't just accept it on hand.
Yeah, that's a good point. So the $10,000 mark is cash. However, depending on the kind of gold and silver you're trading, if it's U.S. or foreign, or if it's bars, there's different rules on there on the reporting that a coin shop has to do. So the government would probably have to do a similar type reporting on that for federal. So you could have a higher tax burden using gold potentially than cash. You might be better off selling it privately.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, why? I must be missing something here. Why do we want to give the government our gold and silver, man? No, thank you. I want to give them back the crap they
hell
give
no.
us. What?
Yeah,
I might give Johnny down the street, a piece of silver or a piece of gold to buy his pickup truck, but I ain't freaking doing nothing with the government.
Yeah, peer to peer, for sure. What were you just saying, Humble?
No, I'm right there with you guys. I mean, that's the reason why we stack is so we can, or
We
some
don't
people
pay
stack
taxes.
so they don't have to, claim things or have the government with every part of every inch of their being and knowing
Yeah.
it. But do keep in mind, every one of us walks around with a cell phone in our pocket, so they're connected to us at one point. Anybody's camera can get turned on. I mean, there's multiple reasons why. I mean, you're connected no matter what, whether you want to be or not. If you use your phone, you're connected.
But then
Yeah, so
everything's fungible, right? So when you say pay them in gold, like you said, you sell it privately and then pay them.
So here's the last thing. Then I do need to run here because I've got I work East Coast time and my day starts like I've got to be up and ready at 6 in the morning. And that video I put out today, I was editing that till 5 this morning. So that
No,
was a whole
thanks for your
night.
time, man.
Yeah,
But
no,
anyway,
thank you.
last thing I'll say there too is when you use it for barter, you're also telling people you have it.
Yeah.
So if you don't want the government knowing you have a bunch of this stuff, then you probably don't want to be paying everything in gold and silver. But it's nice to have the option should that be, the way you want to go.
Yeah, we probably should be on YouTube, giving all our freaking mail calls out either.
Yeah, well, but here's what I will tell you. Every digital communication is recorded.
Yeah.
I know where the facility is. I used to work across the street from it in Utah. And everything from text messaging to YouTube to phone calls, anything that's digital is recorded. But it also takes a lot of processing power, even with AI, to go through all that stuff to try to figure out what to do with it. It's going to be a long time. Most of us will probably be gone by the time they figure out how to use that information. But I wouldn't be too worried about it. The biggest thing is, share what you're comfortable sharing, and then from there, I think it gets down to like I'll never show my full stack. This is about as much as anything I'm ever going to share, and this is a pretty good chunk. But I get people that ask all the time, "Hey, share your full stack." I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that. I show my face, so I'm not gonna share both of those." And even people that do share their full stack, sometimes they run into people that see them, and then they get all freaked out. And I don't think stackers in general are trying to figure out, "Hey, who am I going to go rob that I saw on YouTube?"
No. And I'm
Let
not
me give
really
you
worried
my
about that.
address, and I'll give you my my safe code too.
Exactly. There you go.
Well, let me close you out here by saying thanks again for coming on. We really do appreciate the time that you spent with us today. You're a fountain of knowledge.
Most definitely, definitely.
I think that everybody in chat and me especially, I learned a lot from you just listening to you. And thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate you.
Yeah, it was
spending
fun.
some
You guys
time.
are welcome.
And it was nice seeing part of your deep stack, part of the stuff that you like to collect. Because that's not, I mean, that's collection stuff. That's not your plain 10-ounce bars that build your weight. That's your passion right there. And so I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah, you guys are welcome, and it's fun. You got to keep it fun, guys. If you don't keep it fun, it just you know it gets boring. But it also is just a tool. Every one of these pieces is a tool. It's just money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
also don't get married to it.
Keeping it fun is what we're trying to do. And thanks so much for helping us do that tonight. It was great to have you. And I don't know if you want to just take the elevator to the top floor of the building, go out on the roof. We've got a chopper waiting for you to take you home, brother.
Awesome, I'll do it.
Right
Thank you,
on,
guys.
man.
Thanks again.
Thanks,
Thank
Stacking
you again.
Surfer.
Yep.
I appreciate you very much. You know, definitely learned a lot listening to you. You know, I was really excited about listening to you tonight.
You guys are
Thanks
welcome.
again.
Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
we'll keep following and watching your stuff and stay in touch, man. Thanks so much.
Sounds
Go
good.
get
Talk
on
to you
a
guys.
chopper.
All right, I'm going. Oh, all right. Bye, guys.
Have a good one, Stacking.
Later.
That was cool. Heck yeah, man. What
That was freaking sweet.
yeah, what a great
Yeah, no,
time.
I'm glad he was able to spend some time with us tonight. That was pretty cool. And he's got some pretty nice pieces. I wanted to
Sure
ask him
does.
about the big pieces of the silver off to the left there, but that big 5-ounce gilded coin, that was that thing, or yeah, that 5 kilo, right? Was a kilo?
Oh, that thing popped. Are
Yeah,
you
that's
I
kidding
think
me?
it was
That thing was sweet.
the Sunstone. I think that was a single kilo gold plated, if I remember right.
wow, that thing was nice.
Heck
And
yeah.
kind of how he fell into stacking, you know, just being given bars and just throwing it off to the side, just forgetting about it, and then getting more bars and throwing it off to the side and forgetting about it. That's awesome.
That was a great story. Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Well,
Right on.
LBS, why don't you rush down the people that we got here?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and shout them out?
Okay, we got Michael and Nancy. Stacking says laters. Thanks for being here, Michael and Nancy. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much. LL is still here. She's dropping the link to Stacking Surfer, telling you to please subscribe or asking you to please subscribe. And for sure, yeah, the dude's a beast, man. He's constantly making content, and it's really good information, like you guys all witnessed here tonight, man. It was a pleasure and an honor to have him. And thank you for moderating this whole thing here, LL. You're awesome. Richard, SGR or TRP, is that what you said, Humble? Richard?
Yeah, Richard.
He says catch a wave. Hell yeah, man. You know he's going to catch a wave. He was talking about changing his name too. I heard him, I think it was today. He's been talking about it for a while, but I don't know, man. I just got used to Stacking Surfer. I hope he keeps that. But yeah, wrong channel. Stuart says later, Mr. Richard, sir. Avocado Stacker came in. Right on, dude. He says later, Surfer as well. LBS sounds like a bird is the word. Oh, I sound like T-Bird, huh? OC Stacker, I don't know. Thanks to all you guys for your time. Everyone have a great week. Right on. Yeah, it sounds like everybody enjoyed him. Jackknife says good crowd. Can't get those dang feet pics now. Freaking Stuart, wrong channel. If you don't know who that is, Stuart. Yeah, feet pics, dude. That's all you're worried about? I'm worried about a lot more than feet pics, bro.
Oh,
I think he's talking about the government and knowing, we're back to our discussion there with Stacking Surfer. But yeah, a lot of great folks here, man. Thank you all for being here. 21 people right now, and I don't know how many likes, but like it up if you haven't, and please subscribe to Humble Stacker, who is our host tonight. Great dude. His daughter was panning some troubled one birthday pay dirt this morning, which was a blast and a joy to watch. We got Cartier Silver. He's pouring up a storm. Liberty Bleeds. I'm just trying to keep you guys entertained and just try not to talk too much, which I struggle with every minute. And yeah, thank y'all for being here. Yeah, what do you guys think? Did we do good, man? Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the show tonight. There mobsters out in the chat.
yeah, a lot of mobsters tonight, which was pretty cool. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. It's always fun when we have a good chat and watching a lot of the messages fly by. So that just means it just means it was successful for me, just watching all the people chatting back and forth. Having you guys here and engaged was pretty cool too. I just thought it was cool that we were able to just let him fly and tell his story. He's not someone who's not afraid of that being out in front of the camera or behind the camera. So it was easy for him to just kind of let it flow. And I thought that was pretty cool of him to come on and share some stuff with us tonight. And you guys made it pretty easy as well. So thank you for being here as well. You guys all rock.
Totally.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm going to give a little shout out to Frostbite, OC, T-Bird, and B. Taylor, because they have all agreed to be one of our guests.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like the roster's filling up pretty quick. So that's about, I think we've got a month to a month and a half worth of future guests that are already locked in for being on the mob. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, we just need to set a date. That's all we got to do. A lot of them are doing the Wounded Warrior Project this weekend, because Veteran Day is coming up. So
yes.
If you know a vet, go hug him, go love on him.
Yeah. Yeah, Veterans Day coming on Tuesday. Yep. It's kind of weird. I thought it was always like on a Monday, but it's Tuesday.
No, it's just another great day to recognize our troops that have gone and fought for us, for our freedom.
Absolutely.
I never went and served, but I have nothing but the utmost respect. I look out my window and I see the Navy base, and police officers too. I mean, honestly, there are some bad apples, but most of them, like 99% of them, are all really good people that are just trying to do their job and go home to their family.
All of our first responders, the fire department, EMS. I mean, they put their shit on the freaking line.
Jeffrey Buttons, he says, I'll take a hug then. So Jeffrey Buttons, thank you for your service. Thank you. There's a lot of people in their precious metals community and beyond, the treasure fam, I like to call us, that are veterans. And they deserve better treatment. And just recognizing them and thanking them for their service is the thing to do. And not just on Tuesday or Veterans Day, but all the time, man.
Yeah, I was watching that earlier. It's the 250th anniversary for the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Marine Corps. Semper Fi.
Yeah, and I know Richard served as well, so thank you, Richard. I appreciate you and your service. Michael, I know you served as well, so thank you also. Jeffrey Button, thank you. I know Nick served also. Thank you.
Yeah,
Nick.
he says, I would love a hug. And man, the power of a hug is incredible, man.
And I know that A3 Sky Warrior, he served. I know that Empty Pan, he served as well. So thank you guys as well. If you pop in this chat and you watch the show, I want you guys to know that we're recognizing everybody who did serve, and thank you all for what you do and what you did for us.
Excellent. Yeah, man.
All right. We are at the 2-hour mark, just about, gentlemen.
It's been a great show. Thanks, guys. It was nice to kind of just sit back and chill, and it was tough to keep the questions down, but I tried, and I definitely wanted Stacking Surfer to get all the airtime and speech she could in, which was fantastic. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to who's our next guest next week. Don't we have a Silver State Stacker coming?
Yeah, Silver State Stackers should be our next week guest, which is going to be a great show, and we are going to be on Cartier's channel next week. So we're going to be over on his channel, so he'll be hosting, right, LBS?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Cartier. Yeah, he's doing it.
As long as I can get everything figured out right.
You got this, bro. Don't you worry. And yeah, I think Silver State Stacker will be a lot of fun. If you guys are into goldbacks, he loves to talk about that. So mobsters, bring your goldback questions. He will answer it. I promise you that.
One thing I
Go
did
ahead.
want to ask Surfer was because he said he stacks gold backs, and I was just thinking, is
Yeah.
that it's the fan scenario as well? Because the premium on gold backs is so high, I don't find it worth it to stack them.
Well, you know what? That would be a great thing to bring up the next time we have him on. If he comes back, I feel like he enjoyed himself, and I feel like he'd come back. So, yeah, write that one down, Humble.
Well, no, I could just ask Silver State Stacker next week if he likes gold backs.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
little pieces of art. They're
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
little pieces of art.
They are.
Definitely a question we can ask him. And I look at them as nice pieces of art as well, right? So, like, not to say I don't have any, I do have
Well,
some, right? But I don't actively stack them. For instance,
no,
Right.
it's not something you
those
stack.
happen.
It's
Those
something you.
happen like
It's,
copper
it's
rounds
something
happen.
it's something you collect like buffalo nickels. You
Those,
want them because
those
they're
happen.
cool. That's it.
Those
Buffalo
happen
nickel ain't worth
copper
shit.
rounds. It's just a byproduct of stacking.
Well, like
Oh.
Stacking Surfer said, diversification is the key, even within the metals, not just, not the whole portfolio. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's really good advice. I don't want to
I
call it
want to ask
advice,
you guys
but
something. Did you guys
good.
see that the silver hit critical metals list today, right?
Yes, sir. I saw that.
And did you see that copper did that as well?
Oh yeah, I actually talked about it about a week and a half ago on a live stream or something. I remember. Yeah, no copper. Yeah, so now the U.S. needs to be strategically stockpiling this stuff, man.
Yeah. So do you think that they're going to turn it into a precious metal? That's the true question. And then if they do,
Oh no, I don't. I
you
don't
don't
think
think
that.
so?
No, I don't know.
No, copper's not going to be a precious metal.
Yeah, but being
Well,
it'll be
let's get into the our predictions for the week.
oh
Where do you think
well,
we're going to go with silver and gold?
well, I got to say, I hope gold goes back up because didn't we lose like $250 over the last couple of days?
Well, right now, well, I don't know exactly right now, but a couple hours ago, we were at $4,040.76 for 1 ounce of gold, and we were at $49.10 for an ounce of silver. So I don't know exactly where we're at right now because I'm not jumping off my stuff, but I think it's gonna we're gonna creep back up this week. We're gonna creep it. We're creeping.
All right, Humble.
I think we're going to come on strong at the beginning of the week, and then I think we're going to flatten and dip a little bit towards the end of the week, and that's if we come off. I mean, I don't know because they didn't raise rates or they didn't lower rates. I mean, that is a huge hit right now. So
Yeah.
it very well come. Do you know what? I'm predicting 46, high 46 tomorrow at the end of the.
We're already at 49.
Yeah, I'm thinking high 46 at the end of the day tomorrow.
So dropping $2 on silver.
Yeah, almost $3. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen, dude. I'm seeing 50 tomorrow.
That's the problem with trying to predict silver. Is somebody sneezes in Europe and the price changes $3.
and a butterfly spreads its wings in China.
Yeah.
No, that lazy-eyed little girl is gonna climb up that hill tomorrow.
Yeah. Well,
our market hasn't even opened yet. This is international market. Our market hasn't even opened yet.
You know what I'm hoping that lazy-eyed little girl does is falls about halfway down from the point she's at and stays there until I can buy a whole bunch of her, and then she can climb all the hell she wants to.
You guys got to leave that girl alone, man. And OC Stacker, says, he says, silver up 49, 41, $1.19 as we speak. Okay. Oh, wait. What did I see? I saw something funny, man. What the hell? I lost it.
That's funny.
So, yeah. OC Stacker is
Here
going
you are
to be
right there. That's funny.
OC Stacker is going to be on the show, right? We don't have a
Yeah,
date,
we just
but
gotta set a date. We got Frostbite, we got OC Stacker, we got T-Bird, we got Beat Taylor. They're all jumping on board.
nice.
We just need to
So
actually
we just need to set up a good date. OC has to do Wounded Warrior Project. He's moderating on one of the channels, so he can't do next week. Well,
Right on. Thanks, OC. You're awesome, dude.
the 23rd. He can't do the 23rd. So we need to find somebody for the 23rd.
So I got
Okay.
Tuesday off, you guys. We can talk about this on Tuesday and figure it out.
Yeah. Let everybody get back to their lovely Sunday evening. Thank you guys so much for being here. Awesome to have you all. Mobsters,
I
rock.
appreciate everybody. But I think we're gonna sign off. We're right at the 2 hour mark. You all rock. Thank you all for being here. Next week we're on Cartier Silvers, and we're having Silver State Stacker, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yep, we're gonna have him on, and we're gonna be talking about goldbacks because that's what he likes to stack, and that's his passion when it comes to stacking, as well as I'm sure silver and other gold. So, you guys, stack what you can, where you can. I appreciate everybody for being here, and Metal Mob, we're out of here, guys.
All right. Y'all keep on keeping on. Love you.
Stay shining. Peace out, everyone.
Later, everybody. Thanks for coming by. Later.